documentation purposes, all right? Andre Stevenson exclusive on his platform last night interview. Part of it anyway. I think it's very important for me to note on my platform. So just in case there's anybody, last some baby. Just in case there's anybody on this platform that don't listen to Andre or is not familiar with him, would I encourage you to forget Partner Jar TV and go subscribe. Winnie made, big up yourself. Right? But we are going to talk about the Blue Lagoon and we're going to talk about Portland. Because Portland people, let me ball out. Only listen to this. Listen to this. Me can't believe.
Greetings, Andre. Good night to all of your viewers.
Blessings, and you're from Jabin. Tonight you saw in the media that the Blue Lagoon, according to Jamaica National Heritage Trust, is open to the public. Can you give further context of what is really happening?
Yes, I surely can. I would, however, like to acknowledge Ringo, Colin Beck, for his presentation here tonight. I want to hail Colin to stand up as a leader for his people, for the Blue Lagoon Alliance, because what they are experiencing is truly economic injustice. Economic injustice with state complicity, because the Blue Lagoon is a national monument that is managed by the National Heritage Trust and so by the government of Jamaica. And so the exclusion of the Blue Lagoon Alliance from their economic, where they make their money is a direct consequence of the action of the government.
Wow.
So I am saying this about the lagoon as a monument because it's a wide area that encompasses from the tip of Alligator Head to the tip of Dragon Bay. It's a massive area that also includes Sansan Bay and Sansan Beach. And Sansan Beach is private now, okay? But it's part of the national monument and it should not have been private. So what we are seeing here is the privatization of the national resources of the country and the transfer of the wealth of the country to the rich of the country. So that is what is happening, a privatization and the transfer of the resources to the oligarchs and the rich people of Jamaica. So if I put...
What Ringo was expressing about the people who own all them houses along the stretch going into the Blue Lagoon, that's how it really goes.
The Blue Hole Public Road is a parochial road that falls under the National Monument of Jamaica, right? That was about to be privatized. And I know this very well because I've seen it done twice in my lifetime. I've seen it done in Miami Bay, where a parochial road that leads us to the Sydney Beach, that takes us to Miami Bay Beach, that takes us to all the beaches and the rock edges in Miami Bay. That road was privatized, taken away from the parish council and transferred to private interests, and the communities in and around Miami Bay cannot access that road. So that's an example. Another example is Old Fort Bay. In St. and again, a parochial road that was controlled by the parish council that lead us to the beaches in and around Old Fort Bay, okay, was transferred from the parish council to private interest, and the community in and around St. Anne, Steertown, Chalkhill Airport no longer can access that road. So we're seeing two privatization in my space, and what was about to happen in the Blue Lagoon is the transfer of the public parochial road to private interest in the Blue Lagoon. And so we had to step in the last minute to file for prescriptive rights of access in the space to protect the road, right? So we do not access the Blue Lagoon, right, in the strict interest of free access. We're accessing through permission with restriction, because as Ringo rightly says, you cannot traverse the Blue Hole Public Road that leads right into the lagoon freely. You are rerouted over a different pathway that takes you over private land, and you require permission to access the Blue Lagoon over private land. So that is not unrestricted free access. It is not. The road has been commandeered by a private security company and been paid for by private citizens, and JABEM and Portland Environmental Action and now the Blue Lagoon Alliance for 2 years have written through access to information to GNHT, to local government, to parish council, and no one can tell us who is it that's commandeering the road and who is it that is paying the private security. So Jamaica, Blue Lagoon access is not free. It is by permission. And that is unequivocal.
So by permission is basically by privilege.
It is by privilege. You're just given a blight to walk over this. And this is what we're contending in court. because I share with you a document that we have prepared and we have released that to the public.
Yes.
There are several tracks and roadways that the community in and around Fairy Hill, Zion Hill, Drapers, you name it, have been using to access the Blue Lagoon. Remember, the Blue Lagoon is very, it's an historical space. All right, it is a space that is enshrined in the history of Jamaica. You know what I mean? Alex Minor Moore will have strong history that shows you that Nani's boat backed in the Blue Lagoon. So we have the historical context that shows you how long we have been using it. So it's time immemorial. So we require no permission to do so, but instead the government has changed the power structure around the Blue Lagoon, shifted that to the oligarchs and the wealth.
To date, you don't even know the name of the security company.
We do not know the name of the security company. We do not know who's paying the security company to maintain the blockage of the Blue Hole Public Parochial Road. And as my good friend Wilborn Carr said, Adopi control the road, because there was an article that came out that the mayor is saying that no Adopi story in the Blue Lagoon. Now we know that Adopi control the road, Adopi block the road, and Adopi pay to control the road, because we do not know who is doing all of this, and nobody can tell us. And so this is fundamental reason why we need good governance in the country.
Yes.
Right? This is the reason why when the constitution reform, we have to have strong local government, because these are the framework that more people be able to tap into to get the answers that we want, right? And we don't have those.
Now, may I have to pause right there, so ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot to unpack, right? Now, if what this man is saying is true, the government is 100% against the people of Jamaica. Why do I say that? The government can fix this easily, These people don't need to go to the courts, right? This can be easily settled by the government. Who owns the property? The government can find out, and the government can buy the property from them and take it back and give it to the people using our tax dollars, so we can have the freedom and maintain our right to access it through the road, and the argument will be over. So I want the Jamaican people to keep that in mind. And if Andrew Onis or anybody in the government can tell us, say, them cannot do that, it is a lie from the pits of the devil's mouth. You understand? Them take it from the devil's mouth. That the lie, they come straight from the devil's mouth, and then just grab it from him and tell a lie. You hear me, I tell you? If the government tell you, say, them can't intervene and settle this issue down at Portland, it aligns with their interests, because they serve the private entities. They serve the oligarchs, because this government is about money, 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 money. You hear me, I tell you? From me know myself as a local youth people, always say labor right government is for the rich. I see all I entertain them, and all of the people in the media with their Andrew Onis party. We are rub shoulders with Andrew Onis and I bow down to Andrew Onis. Yeah man, you don't want to be a part of the club. You will never be accepted a part of that quote-unquote elite club. You'll never be accepted. Some are not too dark for them. Only not white enough. Yeah? Yeah man, on family name no significance to them. So you'll never be equal with them. So you can go and you can continue to be house slave and sell out to the black brother. Because I'm telling you, God is going to judge every last one of you. And Jonas' faith seal already, Thus saith the Lord, So you can't go and stay there. All of you now get caught up in that too. Because you support the foolishness. You support the oppression of the people of Jamaica. And if I want to know some of the intricacies that is not prior to us here in the public, I want to know yourself who know. I don't know, but you know, so there's other people. No one person can do this. This is a syndicate. And if you know say you're part of a syndicate, trust me, God is coming for you. We can tell you that. That's a thus saith the Lord, not my word. Almighty God, spiritually. Because we don't deal with carnal. You understand me? I deal with spiritually. Yeah. So let's get that clear. But let's continue. Nanya the Maroons, more it me say. Father God invoke the spirit of Nanya the Maroons. And the people them when you see fit. Because your timing is the best timing.
And so instead of what we have, some kind of posse, just grabbing all of this road, blocking it, and we have to be in court litigating on behalf of the public, to make sure that this road stay in the control of the country. Because, Andre, around the Bolo Lagoon, there are more than 200 acres of land. And the government of Jamaica does not own not even a square foot of it.
So who owns that 200 acres of land?
It is all in private hands, my brother. The entire national monument, all is owned.
200 acres of land is in private entity?
Private hands. All the Heritage Trust and the government of Jamaica owns in that space is the body of water called Blue Lagoon. All right? That's what they own. When did the private owners get access to all of this 200 acres? It's a very interesting story, and we are researching it. We're trying to fundamentally understand how is it that all the lands in and around the Blue Lagoon, right, was transferred to private interests. Now, I should say this: the government have the power
to reverse that.
Of course, the Land Acquisition Act of 1947 allows the government to expropriate land in the interest of the public.
Land Acquisition Act of 1997, you say? Hold on.
Right? Was transferred to private interest. Now, I should say this: the government have the power
to reverse that.
Of course, the Land Acquisition Act of 1947 allows the government to expropriate land in the interest of the public. So when they're running around and they can't find permanent home to put the Blue Lagoon Alliance to carry out their economic activity, as eloquently as Ringo put it, they've used it not only to survive, right, but to generate income in communities, to send their families to school. They have used it to as informal as how that space is, right? And we know how major importance is the informal economy in Jamaica. See the country, because the government just does not provide adequately for its people economically. So the informal economy is very important in Jamaica. And what they have done is shut down the informal economy and now causing people like Mr. Fox to be suffering at 71 years old. It's the same thing we saw in Money Bay. 72-year-old fisherman comes out of his boat. He's greeted by an armed guard with guns and tell him that you need to get off the beach because this land is in private hands. It's a common trend around the country because the vulnerability of our people, all right, and the rights of our people is trampled upon by the state. The state is doing great injustice to the country when it comes down to coastal space.
They say a fisherman was on the coastline and a private security guard with a gun. Just a cousin man said this is private land, you have to come out.
When the community of Mommy Bay was displaced, this is the experience of members of my community.
Come back to PDTV News Jamaica. We're talking about the crisis of public access that the raft captains and many other Jamaicans have right now with the area called Blue Lagoon, or you would have called it the Blue Hole.
Yeah.
Where we are now, Jamaica, this is really, here what Jabem is saying is access is threatened. The public Blue Hole road access is threatened by privatization. Why is access to the Blue Lagoon under threat when it is a national monument? So what is your cry tonight to the government of Jamaica? Because we just have to advocate. I see that you have, somebody says the Bonnie and Clyde of Portland. What is the Bonnie and Clyde of Portland?
I mean, listen, Andre, what is our cry? What is the people of Jamaica's cry? Right? We need to participate fully in the economy of Jamaica. We need a government that represents and reflects the will of the people. We need to be included in the economic engine of the country, fully included in it. We do not need any marginalization. We do not need to be disempowered, or we do not need to be excluded. And all that I'm mentioning here about disempowerment, okay, exclusion, right, is happening in the Blue Lagoon. we require permission, we require authorization to traverse private land to get to the Blue Lagoon. So that is not free access. That is access by authorization. And it is disingenuous that the Nationwide, the Observer, and the Gleaner, 3 media houses, and they did not have a conversation with us as to what is happening in the Blue Lagoon, but they're publishing that it's free to access. No, we have to go over private land.
And that's why I stopped there today to see if it was a case that people could have access. And you heard when the security said nobody can park here, nobody can come through here, you just have to pass through, but you cannot land, you cannot park. So me not understand.
Well, what you have to understand is that there's a registered fishing beach there, right? And they're cutting fishing out. There's no new registration of fishing there. They're not renewing their license there, so no fishing can operate. All right. All the raft captains there are licensed, they're up to date, and they cannot venture into the Blue Lagoon. Yet still they're kayaking happening in the Blue Lagoon. They're kayaking happening in the monument. I've seen it myself. I've taken a tour. I've gone into Sansan Bay. I've seen economic activity going on there, except economic activity by the community members. All right, and Jamaicans can only go in that space 9 to 5. So they've also put a time restriction on the space. Now we're asking the question: if the floor of the sea and the seashore is vested in the Crown, and the Crown supposed to be controlled by, Commission of Lands, controlled by the government of Jamaica, how can public spaces be privatized when you have no conversation with the people of Jamaica?
But there is an allegation that Portland Holdings owns the Blue Lagoon. Have you ever heard of that allegation?
No. And I would say they cannot own the Blue Lagoon because under Jamaican law, right, bodies of water are vested in the Crown. All right. Now, we are in territories right now where constitutional reform is very important because what is vested in the Crown, right, is managed by.
Here where the man say about constitutional reform, ladies and gentlemen. Here where the man say about constitutional reform. Take that and smoke it in your pipe. You see this constitutional reform, where you see them try speed up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to get educated and get involved. Very involved. We need to get back at the government like a white pan rice. You hear me I tell you now?
By the Commissioner of Lands. The Commissioner of Lands is appointed by the Governor General. But the Commission of Lands is also regulated through the National Land Agency. The National Land Agency, at this point, sits in the office of the Prime Minister.
Oh, Lord God.
Okay? So
wait. The Commission of Lands and the National Land Agency operates in the office of the Prime Minister.
Yes. So too does the beach control legislation, where the regulatory...
What? Jamaica.
Whoa, we need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament, shift the election, shift everything. Remove them out there. Take out the cockroach, take out the thief, take out the criminal them, take out the thief them, take out the murderer them, take out the gang leader them out of parliament. Take them out from Portland. Take them out. I hear Portland. Me I go to Portland. Why me I travel to Portland? Take out somebody, man or woman.
People.
We are in territories right now where constitutional reform is very important because what is vested in the Crown, right, is managed by the Commissioner of Lands. The Commissioner of Lands is appointed by the Governor General. But the Commissioner of Lands is also regulated through the National Land Agency. The National Land Agency, at this point, sits in the office of the Prime Minister.
Oh, Lord God.
Okay? So,
wait. The Commissioner of Lands and the National Land Agency operates in the office of the Prime Minister.
Yes. So too does the beach control legislation, where the regulatory arm is the NRCA of NEPA, that also sits in the office of the Prime Minister. All right? So the power structure around coastal spaces operates outside of the office of the Prime Minister. All right? And it represents, as reported, 35% of the Jamaican economy. all right, and more than 50% of the foreign exchange is by the coastline. So pretty much Jamaican economy has shifted to a coastal economy. So the wealth of the country is largely being generated by coastal spaces. And what we see happening across the country is a privatization of coastal spaces, right? And when you privatize this, you do what? You solidify the wealth already in the oligarchs and the rich. So you're creating more inequality, which is a condition of capitalism, is inequality, concentration of wealth, and driving further the distance, if you will, between the rich and the poor, between the haves and the have-not. So you're perpetuating oppression, you're perpetuating income, inequality, and more deprivation of the Jamaican people. So there's no empowerment will reach the Jamaican people because the economy that's driving the country, we are deprived of participating in it. This is why we don't own a hotel, we don't own massive, investment along the coast. That we don't, the Jamaican country people don't own that, and the government is not facilitating that for the people of the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, you remember when the man said that the act, because I'm looking at the act while I'm listening to them, and I'm reading it. I hope you guys have been reading along with me. This part of the act says, whenever any land has been so declared to be needed for public purpose, the minister shall direct the commissioner to take proceedings for acquisition of the land. What does acquisition mean? For those that don't know. Alright. Acquisition. It means an asset or object bought or obtained typically by a library or museum, the learning and developing of skills, habit, or quality. So acquisition is an asset or object bought or obtained. So it is saying here that whenever any land has become so declared to be needed for public purposes, example, the Blue Lagoon, which is our constitutional right, the minister, whoever the minister is for this part of the government, shall direct the commissioner, give instructions to take proceedings to buy that land. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we could go further into this act and find more language that supports what the man said. That in this act of 1997, the Land Acquisition Act, the government of Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen, can acquire that 200 acre of land because it's deemed to be needed for public purposes. Whoever own the land, the same government can take it from them. They can have this whole thing if they really are about the people. Excuse me. I'm sorry, we never take a screenshot of that. If they really are about the people, ladies and gentlemen, if this government really are about the seat here, me find it back. See it here? See it here? Whenever any land has been so declared, you can screenshot this. This is the Land Acquisition Act. You guys can go look it up. Ryan Anthony, big up. Rasnick, big up. You guys can go look this up. Whenever any land has been so declared to be needed for a public purpose, the minister shall direct the commissioner to take proceedings for the acquisition of lands. Point blank, period. The government of Jamaica has been exposed once more. If this is true, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to lean on the side of allegation. I'm going to lean on the side of, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, Bolo. You can't read and you can't comprehend. Zine, what you're looking at is not what it actually means. If this is true, the government of Jamaica has been exposed again for not protecting the rights of the people of Jamaica. And our interests. What is our interest? To enjoy the land that we were born in, that we are sovereign to. That is ours. Access to not only a wonderful, beautiful area for, for relief mentally, physically, and spiritually, but it's also a historical site. Because on ships is where a lot of us came here. Not all of us, but a lot of us came here. A large majority of us came here on ships through slavery. And we landed in some of those same areas. There's a lot of trauma there. Right? And you are now aggravating, putting trauma on a people that has went through enough historically, that has post-traumatic slavery disorder, right? And we have a government that is now holding us down to the rich and wealthy, the same rich and wealthy that held us down years ago. This government is an advocate for slave masters, in my opinion. And I rest my case. I'm going to move on. I don't need to say anything else. Another reason why you guys should vote out this government. Another reason why. Now, wanna let me know what you think about that in the comment section, alright?
Hey y'all, please remember to hit the like button. I know y'all coming sometimes and y'all forget, but the main thing, man, y'all gotta hit the like button, man, and share the live stream. Come on now, stop playing. Support, support, support.